This is my indoor planting station. I do not have a greenhouse, so I make do. I'm in my basement laundry room, and I will do everything right on this surface to get my seeds started for this year. I make little plant labels from yogurt containers. They work really well. Just make sure that you do soak them in a bleach and water mix. One year I didn't do that. I had some sort of weird yogurt fungi growing on all my plants and it killed them. So just use really good sanitation when you're recycling any materials. It's one of my favorite tools. It's called a nit picker, and you can actually prick out the seedlings. These things, when you open them, half the time they get stuck. This will just tear that open. It's just a great tool for all sorts of things. I highly recommend it. It's my favorite garden tool. I freak out if I can't find it. This is my potting soil. You want to use something other than dirt in your backyard. In the past I've used perlite and vermiculite mixes. This year I'm trying an organic potting mix, which is sterile. Just fill up your tray. This is a tray that I cut out of a plastic cat litter container. I punched holes in the bottom for drainage. My potting soil is damp. I put some water in it. It's not drippy wet. We're going to bottom water later. This just makes it really easy to plant with. Make sure your hands are extremely clean. I have scrubbed my hands like a surgeon prior. I have put all of the plastic containers, let them soak in a bleach and water mix beforehand. Everything should be very sterile, or you could potentially get a plant disease and it could kill all of your seeds. I'm going to top this with just a little vermiculite. This is a sterile medium, which will help supposedly prevent damping off. Just label that. Some columbine. I am not very scientific when it comes to putting my seed out. I've learned that they just kind of work it out until you transplant. Not too particular. Some people are very particular and want to kind of measure. Not like that. This is the actual seed. It's right there, and this is all the debris. That can cause problems as far as disease. So I'm going to try to get out what I can. I may go through there and just try to pick it out. For my tomato seeds, when I plant them out, I space them out. I take my little pricker. I just evenly space them out because they're going to get bigger and we don't want them jammed up on top of each other. Sometimes tomato seeds glop together. Just kind of stuck, and I kind of just unglop them before I put them down. Now I'm just going to cover the top with some vermiculite. You want to cover the depth equal to the size of the seed. I just planted some really massive sunflowers. Obviously they need some room. They need to be fairly evenly spaced. I'm going to put my vermiculite mix right on top. They need to be covered fairly deeply. And I plant my sunflowers inside every year because if I plant them outside, something gets them every single year. And I do not put them out in the garden until they are a good 6 inches tall, at least, because something always comes and bites it off. Everything loves sunflowers. Just press this down, and we're going to put it in some water, and we'll be good to go. There are a few seeds that require light for germination, so we will not cover those seeds, but we will cover all the other seeds with the vermiculite. Some of the bigger seeds I'm putting a little more on. These smaller seeds, they don't require tons of vermiculite. You want good soil contact to the seed, so you do want to kind of press everything down. Then we will put it in a tray and bottom water it. Make sure your tray has been bleached, sterilized. That's a mix of bleach and water. Very little bleach to water is required. Now we're going to bottom water all of our trays. But when you water your seedlings, you want to use warm water, not hot. Don't use cold ice water. You want to keep things growing. You don't want to stop the growth temporarily. Another cool thing is I have a level back here. It's holding all my seed packets that I'm going to plant outside. So this is my greenhouse. It's a little portable greenhouse, and I really like it. I got it last year. I've got a grow light in the top. There's so much sun coming from the window behind it. It's hard to see, but I have a grow light. Here are our little seedlings. And I have a little heat mat that they're on, plugged in. I may run this heat mat at night, and in the day I'll have so much heat from the window that I don't need to run it, but that really helps keep the soil warm. The seeds will germinate faster. There's less chance of them rotting or getting damping off. I may add a little fan as this progresses once the seedlings are up. At night I will roll this down and cover this front up so that it'll stay warm, and it'll have the heat from the heat mat. And this is actually has like a little greenhouse hood that goes on it. I will not use that because of this big plastic greenhouse, but you could go that route. I did that for 15 years. I used just the little greenhouse little plastic hood that goes on this, and that works fine if you don't have enough room for this thing. And when spring hits, I will just take this whole thing outside, and I'll have racks and racks of seedlings in here, and it is wonderful. So I've really enjoyed this. This is really quite functional, and it's a way to get around not having a greenhouse. Keep it in front of a window, nice window where you have lots of light. Right now at this point, I don't need light to germinate these seeds, but I'm just ready for when they do sprout. And then I will move it up here underneath this gray light, because even the window light is not going to be strong enough on its own. Here's the greenhouse once I've zipped it shut. You really want to have good air circulation once the plants start coming up. You see any condensation on this, unzip it. You know, basically during the day I will have it unzipped so air can get in there, and at night I will zip it up so that the cold air in the room doesn't impact the seedlings so much. I am now going to plant perennials and trees in this little nifty milk jug greenhouse that is going to go outside. The seeds will germinate when they darn well want to. I don't have to worry about it, don't have to tend to it. I had pretty good luck with this last year. Never grown persimmon trees, but a friend of mine has persimmons. These are some pretty big seeds. I have a lot of Nicotiana seed, and this is ridiculous. I just put a whole big blob on there, but it will work out. It will all work out in the end. Some Cranesville geranium. That's actually a nice plant to have. Just sprinkle it around. Garlic chives. I highly recommend garlic chives. These have white blooms versus the purpley pink. And they make really pretty little borders. Angel wing begonia. This is an indoor plant. And I am curious about the germination as well. I really need to research these tiny fine seed. This one is super fine. It's like just should not be covered. Just find its way down in there. Some vermiculite on top. I'm not going to put a ton. Oh, I am on the persimmons because that's a really big seed. I do have drainage holes so that water comes down into this. And there is a hole at the top which you want to keep open. You don't want to screw the lid on even when it gets cold outside. These are hardy perennials. They're not going to die when they sprout. This time of year, it's March, late March. Actually, tamp this down really good. You're going to bottom water it. Set it in a container, let the water be absorbed. And one other step, I'm going to tape this shut so it doesn't flip open.